politics became dangerous again during COVID. Are you haunted by some of the behaviour you saw enacted by elected officials and bureaucrats against the innocent people of Australia, where we saw pensioners who were turned into criminals for sitting on a park bench?
It was disgusting what happened to Australians during the whole COVID issue, and I was so anti this jab, and I never had the jab myself because we didn't have enough information with regards to it. It wasn't tried, tested or proven, and it's been now shown that it does have problems. I started up a legal case to actually take it to the High Court about border closures and what was happening, but the federal government were going to back that, but they pulled out of it and didn't do the backing, so I had to let it slide. The fact is that we've seen how our premiers and our national government conducted themselves during this and were not responsible on how Australians were treated. You couldn't go to a funeral, you couldn't see a loved one in hospital. People who needed that desperate operations or cancer treatments at that time to save their lives, there was no compassion whatsoever. It was disgusting. That's why I have pushed and still push for a Royal Commission into the handling of the COVID-19 by our politicians, and yet they're not coming forward with it. Why? Because there is something hidden there and they don't want the public to know.
Yes, so I call them gutless cowards, and they quite like the power they gave themselves during COVID. But back to your fabulous and universally praised cartoon series. Before I ask you more about it, well, I think you really nailed the Greens leader, Adam Bandt. My favourite character is actually the bat sitting in his little bat soup, which annoyed the Australian Electoral Commission. I remember going on TV in the UK to talk about it, and they thought it was the funniest thing they had ever seen. Do you have a favourite character from your comic series so far?
Oh, look, it's yeah, it is. Look, there's ones like when we had Greta Thunberg on it and the way she was carrying on about this climate change and all the rest of it. And I think the big red dragon was exactly what happens, you know. They say they go up there and suck on the teat of the red dragon, which is China, and the grovelling that goes on there, it makes me sick. And we've put ourselves in the position by successive governments that we're relying on China and the imports that we have here, and for them at this moment to buy our resources and our coal, our iron ore and our minerals is just ridiculous, and then we're buying back the finished product. Governments have failed the Australian people, where I have been pushing for years. We should be, doing our own manufacturing, building these things ourselves, put barriers back on our trade and let's build our own country to prosperity, but they've just driven it into the ground. So, the cartoons, Alexander, what I'm hearing is that people are finding it informative. People who never took an interest in politics are now actually taking an interest and have a better understanding, even to do with the NDIS, National Disability Insurance Scheme. So, scam it actually is. And so it's been very informative for a lot of Australians, and they just love them.